What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? It's Wednesday. A little bit of midweek madness gonna happen tonight. What's up, Ronnie? How you doing?
Good. It's hump day, man.
Oh,
Happy
it's the
Wednesday.
best. Getting over that hump. Get off work, getting here, getting ready to do some talking a little bit of force or farce. Pretty excited. This is a fun little thing we've been kind of doing. Then we're gonna get into some pizza parlays. I kind of told you a little bit about that. So our pizza parlays. What a pizza parlay is, you basically pick three teams that you think will win this week against the money line. So no spread, no nothing like that. And then you basically pick three toppings to go on your pizza to build your pizza parlay.
Are my toppings players?
No, they are literally toppings for your pizza. So you're building a pizza with your parlay.
All right,
I think
you
it'd
might
be fun. So we
have to throw up a graphic for me of the lines because I did not get to making my picks before the show on that one, but I'll be able to pull it off.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it's just all it is about having fun. We'll see how people and I'm trying to see once we get this kind of going about midway through the season, we're gonna start making this into a contest and having some fun with it. But yeah, because see who ends up at the end of the year with the most people with the highest score. So it's kind of fun. It's something that Iggy and I have been doing for since last year, and he worked in the pizza industry, and we had Colt on, and he was a chef too, so it's kind of fun talking about food and what's better than pizza and football. So it's kind of fun. Maybe we can dish out a pizza to somebody whoever wins too.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'll take a pizza. Send it my way. I love pizzas. What speaking of you and Iggy, so you guys do shows pretty much every day a week. You guys crush it. First of all, like I love everything.
Thank you.
Doing. But what are a few things that you could enlighten someone if, let's say, I was brand new to this episode? Like, what's the number one thing, two or three things to check out from you guys each week?
So what the sports affiliation is all about is positivity, and here you hear a lot of people try to brand positivity. Well, we really we live positivity, man. That's what we're all about. We've been in some situations where there's been enough negativity where we're like, we just don't want that in our lives anymore. We want to build a true community of people that want to live the same life, have fun with football or any sport, talk fantasy sports, talk betting, without all the BS, and then trying to build each other up. I mean, that's what the sports affiliation is all about. And including people, inclusiveness. That's another thing that we strive to promote. And the one thing that we like to do also is try to help people get into the industry. And we've been doing that, with the Game Changers, with Carla and Wendy. So getting some people that are content creators or that are content consumers or just kind of likes football, getting them out and getting them into the industry. And it's been nice seeing them two ladies grow. But yeah, we do, Iggy's got his game show on Monday, which is nice. We got this, and Game Changers is on Tuesday. But we get interviews, the website too. Sportsaffiliation.com. That's where we have a lot of our writers, putting out content. Both Anthony's. We got Iggy writing his, Latino Heritage Month. Every day. So that's been really, really cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out. But yeah, it's been a fun journey. We've been doing this this sports affiliation's been rolling for about maybe 7-8 months, and ups and downs as any other business has. And it's just nice that there's a lot of really good people out there still, and you're one of them, Ronnie.
I don't know. I do my best just to not annoy as many people as
no, you're good stuff. Meeting you at the expo. I mean, there's a thing. I mean, I believe in fate. I mean, I believe in the universe, man. The universe puts things in your path for a reason, and you're gonna make the choice you need to make, right? I mean, to get you where you're supposed to go. So, the universe put you in my path and in mine and Iggy's path. So I'm glad you're here.
Well, I appreciate that. I wish the universe would put Sky Moore in the path of some targets from the home.
It's not going to happen. Not this week, even. I mean, I got a guy on my force list that I think will and he's actually in a, I guess I wouldn't call it a revenge game, but he did play a lot for this team, and I think he'll get the same benefit or same type of looks that Thielen got this last week. The
Mm.
passes behind the line of scrimmage where he can, run with the ball from the side. I think that's something we'll get into. But yeah, let's get into it right now. So this segment is called Force or Farce, and that being, somebody that we think is outside of the top 16, basically outside the top 16 ranked right now, top 16 players that are outside of that top 16 that we think can finish this week in the top 16. That doesn't mean that they are going to move up to the 16. It just means that this week they will finish in that top 16 of players. And then our farce are players that are top 16 players overall this year at their position that we think that potentially will finish outside the top 16. So basically, we do QBs, running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. So let's kind of just get into it, man. We got our FARCE players. What are you thinking today? What are you thinking? What are you thinking this week in week 5?
Full disclosure, so you got to make your picks before me, and then I had to follow up. And you took a couple of the guys that I would have gone with. So I think our minds are aligned on a lot of this. So at quarterback, if we want to start there, I kind of just had to look at the state of the guys that are outside of the top 16 and acknowledge that it's just not pretty, and I don't want to bank on most of them. It's just tough to try and find guys that are going to jump into that and put my name on it, if you will. It's a prediction. So I went with Joe Burrow. And I know that he just lost T. Higgins for this week. It sounds like he might be back sooner than expected, but he's not playing this week. And that said, if I had to bank on any of these guys that haven't finished in that top tier range yet, that have the potential to, why not go with Joe? And I know that's kind of a cop-out answer for what I was hoping to give some actual good insight. But at some point, Joe's calf is going to heal up to the point where he feels good. He'll get in a rhythm. And when it happens, he's going to be terrific. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but you put me in a pickle and I had to pull the trigger on someone. So it's Joe, at least at quarterback.
Well, here's the thing, too. Another thing we can kind of talk about, too, is, this could be like last week I had CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud didn't, he didn't have a bananas week, right? But he's somebody now that everybody was going out to get, right? This week, everyone's like, go get CJ Stroud. Well, now it's too late, right? Like, if you would have picked him up when we were talking about him on Wednesday, when I said he's my force, like he potentially is somebody that could be a force the rest of the year.
Yeah, he looks incredible.
Starting this week, go get him before everyone else is talking about him. Sunday, everyone's starting to talk about him. After Sunday, everyone's like, oh, look, CJ Stroud, he could potentially be this. Yeah, yes, he can. He's been throwing over 300 yards a game, a week. So, it doesn't have to be. So I agree with Burrow. This is maybe that week. Maybe people have been like, even in Dynasty, they're falling down on him. Maybe it's a week where you can kind of go pay down on him. Maybe somebody's like, man, even like if it's like even if it's like a non-dynasty, maybe somebody like really needs a win, and like, man, Josh Dobbs or somebody like that, like he's been playing really well. You could probably pull something like that, maybe add something and go get Burrow if you're like, all right.
If you're just to touch on that, I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Throwing in a trade for Joe Burrow right now, you would almost have to, like, let's use Dobbs as a scenario. You would maybe, if you have a litany of depths at wide receiver, you can go in and flip a guy like a Keenan Allen right now, who's probably he's going to be fine this year, but he's probably not going to be the number one wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And maybe like throw in a Keenan Allen with a Josh Dobbs to get Joe Burrow and Michael Pittman and something like that. I would take that as an overall win, but I don't know. It's tricky trading for a guy like Joe Burrow because he doesn't deflate in value as much as other players would because he has so much name recognition.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think that this is a good time to go get somebody like a Joe Burrow. Like he is like still a little bit banged up, but like I feel like after this week, what do they have, a bye week coming up?
Yeah, my expectation is by week 8 or 9 he'll be fine, and we're in week 5, so. Yeah, it might suck for another couple of weeks here. I'm not saying that he's going to pop this week, but anyway, based on the field at hand of those guys that are outside of the top 16.
Yeah, week 7.
Your guys, I like Burrow. I'll put that out.
They play the Cardinals this week. It's a potential where he could go off. We've already seen him at least have one good game against Baltimore, so it's not like it's not it's not an opportunity where he could, start doing something with, I mean, and Boyd is somebody who could easily step right up into that position too, with
it's
opportunity with Higgins out. I mean, Boyd does show up when he needs to, so it's not like Burrow's like totally missing out on Higgins.
Yeah, they've got a historical system guy in Boyd that can step in. It's not like losing like Devonta Smith, for example, and then you have a rando showing up to take his place.
No, I agree with you. So all right, we'll get into my force player. So my force, I have two, and I think are these two players that you were talking about that you kind of agree on?
Yeah, I looked at your list first and was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go with Joe.
So, I mean, these guys are right on that cusp of 16. I mean, Josh Dobbs is at 16, Sam Howell is at 17. But I mean, Sam Howell, everybody was talking so bad about how like he's not been showing up, blah blah blah. Boom! Look what he does this last week, right? Against Philly, a tough defense. He shows up and kind of shows out. Curtis Samuel, starting to show out, do his little thing. But I mean, he's got so much talent around him, and if he can just open up and do his thing, man. They're playing against Chicago this week. I mean, Russell Wilson put up, QB1 numbers last week against Chicago. So, I mean, it's another opportunity for him to put up those numbers. And he's either probably out on the waiver wire or somebody, I mean, might even be willing to trade him. It's a good time to get in on this. I mean, his schedule isn't terrible. I mean, Atlanta, then New York. I mean, he has Philly again. So, I mean, it's not like it's a terrible schedule to get in. What's up, Marcy? Get in right now. I mean,
dude, there are 31 quarterbacks in the NFL that I would be. If you told me, oh, I'm thinking about starting this guy this week because he's playing the Bears, I'd be like, sure.
The Bears or the Broncos.
Because he plays for the Bears.
And like now I've learned to stay away from receivers who play against the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks, have been shutting down receivers this year. It's crazy. So I'm like just avoiding that. But yeah, I mean, and Josh Dobbs, man, he's been absolutely dominating for somebody that gets coming in, and not really having all these crazy receivers. I mean, he's just finding people to throw to and making things happen. Like he's a great leader. So I mean,
Michael Wilson's actually a guy paired up with Josh Dobbs that I thought about putting on my list.
We might. I mean, so we're gonna build a DFS lineup at the end of the night too. So we do a Josh Dobbs with Michael. Get that little lineup going if we want to.
Yeah. I'd have to see prices. I don't love the Bengals matchup, but I do like those guys as players, especially at their value and their finishes right now.
What's up, Bella? What's up, Marcy? What's up, Biggie? So those are some of the players that I like that are like players to get in, like even like you said, Burrow. It's a player to get in on now. Like some people might be like, I mean, the schedule is great for Howell. I'm just like, yeah, it's time to go get him.
Well, I like this exercise because it was difficult for me. I sat there for about 30 minutes and labored over this, and it's just like when you get outside of the top 16, there's just not a lot.
Dude, it's hard at wide receiver, man. The top 16 at wide receiver is like really hard to find somebody where like they could maybe fall outside the 16, probably won't. But like especially this big looking at the schedules, it's like with somebody I grabbed, it was crazy. But let's get into our farce players. So who do you have as like somebody that is a top 16 player do you think won't finish in the top 16 this week?
I love this one. So Russell Wilson's currently the 9th quarterback in fantasy on the year. He just had a 4-touchdown week. He looked incredible, and he continues to look somewhat revitalized. He's not back to his old self, and I think his days of being truly elite are gone. And I say this as a guy who watched him play football like through middle school and high school. I love him to death. However, Sean Payton screwed up, man. Like this offseason, like biggest foot in your mouth moment of any team, any player, any coach this offseason when he called out the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett. Not only because it's stupid to do that, but because the Broncos suck. Like I don't know how he sat there and saw what was going on with this team in practice and overall in the offseason, and then thought it would be a good idea to call out anyone because the chances were, if I was in his position, like my team's going to be ass this year. And sure enough, they are. And now he is having that revenge narrative. It was hot hot topic on Twitter. The moment that quote came out, everyone marked in this week and this matchup, and then we lost Aaron Rodgers and the Broncos fell on their face. And I think people forgot about that narrative. But I love narratives. And I love applying narratives to fantasy football because you can't quantify them. And I get my butt kicked by a lot of the data nerds in this industry all the time, but they can't beat me about the narratives. This narrative of the Jets showing up, who already have a fantastic defense, and playing at home against the Broncos, I believe. Actually, no, it's in Denver. I think that Russ, if I had to put money on a guy that's finishing in the top 10 regularly this week, I think that he might fall on his face a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had a pretty good showing out last week, but like you said, I mean, Javonte Williams is a little busted up, but I mean, what else can you say? Like,
Dude, he had to rely on Jaleel McLaughlin and Brandon Johnson to have the game he did last week.
So what are your thoughts on him?
On that all the time.
What are your thoughts on McLaughlin?
He's really good. He's talented. It reminds you, like, he's a better player than Philip Lindsay, but it reminds you of the same sort of asset in fantasy. Love him for redraft right now. I think that he has a chance to stay relevant as a wide receiver, or excuse me, a running back 3 flex play. But Jamonte is not 100%. And the moment he is, like, McLaughlin, I think might be a thunder and lightning situation for them. He's not going to go away. He's good.
P. Ryan's terrible, man. P. Ryan is really bad.
P. Ryan's dusted. I don't know what happened to him.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I went out, like, I'm not missing on that A-Chan. Like, I passed on him, and I mean, he's small too. And I mean, coach was saying he doesn't think that McLaughlin's gonna last, but I mean, if Javonte's hurt, like, they're gonna have to use someone. It's not gonna be P. Ryan. I'll tell you that.
McLaughlin's got enough burst. And I'm not gonna go into a full scouting thing because it's been a while, and I would be talking on my ass anyway. But he doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to be a reliable asset moving forward. It's just a matter of situation currently. But I do like him. I went and bid up on him in a lot of leagues because I needed like an RB3 flex play, and I think he could be that for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, man. I went out and spent. I mean, at this point, we're at week 5, and if you're hurting at running back, I was like, screw it, man. I'll go put 50% out there. I mean, I don't care. If I spent over everybody else and he hits, I'm not going to be mad. Yeah. If he misses, I guess I messed up, and he's just going to go. But it's not somebody I'll just drop, this next week. But sure. Dowdle, he was somebody everyone was like, well, he's putting up a lot of these little points here and there, and it's just like he's already banged up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been his
happens, story. It's football. So we got a question here real quick. Kyle says, full PPRs, Kyren Williams and DJ Moore for Cooper Kupp too much or not enough? When do you think Cooper Kupp comes back? I mean, DJ Moore had a hell of a week this week. This is a week if you think that if you truly think that this is like this was a farce week or like a weird week, like out of nowhere week for DJ Moore that this year with how that team's playing, then you go sell him now. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Kyren Williams and DJ Moore for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, we don't even like. So when is he supposed to be even coming back? I mean,
well, the thing is that like Kyren's value is going to increase when Cooper Kupp comes back. Like the offense, assuming Kupp comes back and is healthy, the offense gets better. And so Kyren is an interesting asset in that trade because it's almost worse losing him if the player you're receiving is good. But yeah, DJ Moore for Cooper Kupp straight up, like you'd want Cooper, but running backs are tough this year. I don't want to give up a guy like Kyren Williams right now.
Unless running backs are really tough this year.
I would need another running back to make that trade.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to move DJ Moore either. And like you said, these running backs have been hard to find, and there's been a lot of injuries, and it's like you just hold on tight to whoever you have. Just hope nothing else happens.
I don't mind ditching off a Bears player, but I think you and I have I like DJ Moore. I'm not banking on anything coming out of Chicago this year.
What's up, Chris Bay? Yeah, I mean, I think they just have to. They're probably gonna be matchup dependent. Like they play against a shitty team that
they can't play Joseph's defense every week.
Like Minnesota, if they play Minnesota, they might do well.
Right. Who do you have farces for quarterback?
So my farce for quarterback is, so Brock Purdy is somebody that I have this week. He's QB 13, but they're playing against Dallas, and this is going to probably be, His toughest challenge this week. Let me pull up the stats real quick. But I mean, they've had a really, really easy schedule this past. Let me pull this up. Brick Brock.
Dude, this is totally irrelevant. While you're pulling that up, last time I was on a show with you, I had chicken wings, and I was like munching on them sneakily throughout the show. I don't have any food with me right now, and I really regret it.
I had Popeyes a little bit ago. Good.
Well, you mentioned pizza, and we're going to start talking
we'll
about
get into pizza parlays. Oh yeah, by the way, we're doing some pizza parlays tonight, so make sure you get your pizza parlay. So basically, you pick 3 teams against the money line, whichever 3 teams you think are going to win this week. Plus, pick 3 toppings to put on a pizza. Pizza parlay. Let's get it, baby. We're going to start every week. We're going to be doing these. So by about week 7 or 8, we're going to start actually taking full count. And everybody who plays those weeks at the end of the week, I think we'll end up doing, I'll either do card giveaway or something. I'll find something in the closet to give away that I have that's autographed. And then maybe we'll send you a pizza just for fun on a Sunday. So yeah, let's start making this a regular thing. So
I'm into it, man. I'm into
3
it.
teams that you think are gonna win this week in week 5 against the money line. So whatever, doesn't matter. There's no spread. And then just pick 3 toppings to go on your pizza. There's fish right there. So yeah, so I have Brock Purdy as my farce this week. I mean, I think he'll just finish, probably quarterback 17, 18, 19, somewhere around there. But I mean, they played against Pittsburgh, who's been, letting up points. LA Rams been letting up points kind of. I mean, but he didn't do well then. Then they played against the Giants in Arizona. And then this week they're going to get Dallas, and I think Dallas has been, doing really, really well against these quarterbacks. So
yes,
especially him. I think this is a week where Dallas is going to put up massive points, unless and McCaffrey's going to be the one who's going to be getting a lot of the benefit. He's going to be running a lot.
This is one where I might disagree with you just a little bit, but
That's
it's
good.
only
like that.
It's only like a hedge disagreement because Brock Purdy, if you said he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback this week, I'd be like, sure, he's playing Dallas. I think that the San Francisco 49ers, for the most part, their offense is defense proof. And Purdy, you mentioned something earlier about when you were talking about it, you mentioned like his 17th to 18th finish this week. And I chuckled to myself because that is the way I view him as like quarterback 10 to quarterback 20. You kind of close your eyes and throw something at the wall, and whatever it lands on is kind of what you get with Brock each week. And I think that's probably true this week. And if it ends up being the case, I'm ready to kind of lock him in as the safest play at quarterback in fantasy this year, but also the most conservative. Because even that week we hit 4 touchdowns in like week 2, something like that, and he still didn't finish as a top 5 quarterback because he doesn't accumulate the yards. It's an interesting system, and I think he's safe. But that's my only disagreement is I think I can't bet against him doing anything bust-worthy, if you will. I think he's always going to be there.
Yeah, but I mean, if you watched him at Iowa State, I mean,
I'm betting on Kyle Shanahan a little bit.
He had some pretty bad. He made some bad decisions, but I mean, he has been making some good decisions. It doesn't hurt that he has McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. I mean, at that defense or that offense, I mean, there's other players that are there that are just as good. Ray McLeod even makes plays. So it's like there's just players everywhere around there. But yeah. I mean, I agree. Who would think the safest play is that this year's Derek Carr. Derek Carr is like the guy who's been like consistently quarterback 15 every single year. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Dak Prescott, man. The last 2 weeks in a row, he's like finished with 16 points and he's finished QB 16. It's like
right.
Consistent. I mean, if you're QB2 and you're in desperate, but yeah, I mean,
kind of like, well, he didn't lose you the week.
No.
But
I'm
not loving it every time.
All right, let's get into some running backs. Let's play some new running back force players this week.
Force players, all right. I'll hit you with both of mine real quick. Jahmyr Gibbs and Dameon Pierce. And this was also a scenario where you had one of your guys was one of the ones my initial take was going to be him. But Jahmyr Gibbs, This goes along with Joe Burrow. It's kind of a best of the lay of the land and my options available. I don't know that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to amount to anything that's predictable this year as long as David Montgomery is healthy. It's just facts of the matter with the way that they're utilizing both of those players in that offense, and Monty looks good. However, Jahmyr Gibbs, like if I was talking to Jeff DiMatteo on the phone about this the other day, and we were like, if Jahmyr Gibbs just got drafted by the Dolphins, well, he'd be the number one player in fantasy. And unfortunately, he's in one of the worst situations, it looks like, despite being picked 12th overall for reliable points in fantasy for a player like himself. However, you're making me pick guys that are kind of outside of the top 16. You got to pick your two before me, and I looked at the lay of the land and was like, Dameon Pierce, his utilization is going up each week. The offense is getting better. The offensive line is getting healthier, and CJ Stroud is getting more comfortable. So I'm happy banking on him outperforming his 26th overall finish every week for the rest of the year.
They're getting another lineman back this week too. They got another lineman back this week too. So
he's good. He's good, man. He's a really solid player. He's not elite, but he's an above average running back. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, I just want it to happen. So full transparency, that's why I put him in there. I'm really freaking tired of seeing this with him. And it's a bit kind of like watching Kyle Pitts and Drake London in Atlanta. I feel the same way about Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit right now.
Yeah, I mean, Gibbs is a player that you should be going out and trading for right now because there's a lot of people panicking. Oh my God, David Montgomery just had, top 5 player was a top 5 player this last week. Like we need to be aborting on, the amount we spent on Gibbs. I need to be abort. And it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna come buy him from you. There's players out there you could be selling too. So
I'm curious what it would be like, and this is another conversation for another day. But my main format is Dynasty, and I'm curious what it would be like to try to trade for him right now. I wonder if his value's dipped at all. I kind of doubt it. Anyway.
Yeah, it might be hard because it was super hard to trade for Pitts, like when he was doing bad. Like people were still like, nah, he's still, he was blah, blah, blah. You're like, all right, well, this is year 3, and we're still waiting. But
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Tell me about your players. I don't want to talk about that.
All right, so I wanted to get some things in here from Iggy. So he had some things he wanted to say. So he said Achane and Mostert. He's like super crazy impressed with how both of these players, are top 10 running backs right now. CMC though is way ahead of everybody else. 35 points ahead of Achane. David Montgomery 11th despite missing a game. Like that's pretty crazy. That's like something, you talk about with Derrick Henry, like he was injured for a couple weeks before, people started passing him up as the number 1 running back.
Sorry.
So he also said his FARCE player this week is who we've already been talking about, Jaleel McLaughlin. He's the most explosive RB that Broncos have, and although playing against a tough New York Jets, Gus Edwards could also see a touchdown on top of his rushing production, which would move him into early RB2 territory. He also likes Aaron Jones and Najee Harris, but Najee's been looking so slow. But Aaron Jones, if he comes back healthy, I like him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if Aaron Jones is healthy, I feel like then that team starts rolling again, because when Aaron Jones, man, that game when they had Jones rolling, man, he was not only was he catching the ball and running, like once he gets the ball, he's a running back again. It's like he can do whatever he wants with it, and he's so strong. So I mean, once he's healthy, he's gonna be balling again. And once it starts getting cold, it's like Aaron Jones is somebody. If you can go get him right now, I would be definitely doing it, because once it gets to wintertime, he is elite. Like that's when he's his best, and he's already showing out. But yeah, so I got 2 guys here. So we're talking about the narrative thing, right? The big narrative. Revenge narrative. We saw it last week with Adam Thielen. Man, he was the number 1 target on that team. And again, I mean, Thielen's been actually balling, but he came out this past week again. And he went off against Minnesota, and it wasn't like against the DBs, right? Like they was doing crazy stuff out of the backfield. They were like throwing stuff off, like quick dump offs in the backfield, and all of a sudden he'd be gone. And like this is where I think, Jerick McKinnon is his specialty, right? He does really well getting touchdowns, and if he can get, which he potentially could do, get 2 touchdowns, against Minnesota, just off of a couple passes. Obviously Pacheco against that run defense of Minnesota is going to have a really good game too. But I think that they can use both of these, utilize both of these running backs and use McKinnon like a pass catcher. And I think he can get into the end zone at least once this weekend.
Yeah, see that. I love McKinnon. He's been a super reliable, safe kind of roster. I don't know what the word would be, but guy that sits most weeks on my bench, but I'm always happy to throw in my lineup if I need to in a pinch.
And he's not somebody, I'm saying is going to be somebody you need to start at RB2 or your RB1. But I'm saying, like, if you have somebody you're thinking about in your flex, right, that you need to get in there, like,
we're in our
definitely somebody that could have that week. He's already had one of those weeks this year.
Yeah, if let's say that you drafted like Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb, and then you've also like played waivers, and then you've got a guy on bye this week, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Jerry McKinnon's available. I'd throw him in. And I really don't care about the matchup either with him, because his upside's always like RB2.
So he had an RB. Well, let's see. I think he was week 3. So he had a 17.8 point week against Chicago, and Minnesota's defense, I would say, is pretty comparable to Chicago's, at least against.
They're both bad.
Yeah, really bad.
I agree.
Defensive backs can't make tackles, like stupid stuff like that. Even though Harrison Smith, man, he broke a record this past week. Let's see it. I got to pull that up because that's a crazy record. I have it right. Oh, right here. First player in NFL history with 3+ sacks, 1+ forced fumble, 14 combined tackles in a single game ever. Harrison Smith. That's the hell. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the Vikings would not have won that game if it was not for the defense. They looked terrible again. Kirk Cousins had 12 completions. That's not good.
Dude, Kirk's
he turned into a pumpkin, and he turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah. He's whatever.
Oh man. And the other guy I have is Alvin Kamara. I mean, obviously we saw him last week just go bananas. So he's clearly ready to be back.
Shout out to you and me. Like, I'm not going to name names, but there's an industry legend that we might have been on a Twitter space with last week who was talking about how he wasn't sure about his confidence in Alvin Kamara to start. And I was like, nah, he's fresh. He's been waiting to play for 8 months. He's going to show up. He's going to show out. And so, I love Kamara.
You guys should have locked me up.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I thought I wasn't going to play football at all this year. Let me go out and ball. But the truth is, Kamara has always been actually Jahmyr Gibbs, the guy we just talked about. Like, what we hope Jahmyr Gibbs can turn into is Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara is still that dude. And he's going to be that dude probably for another year or two, because he's entering a couple of touch thresholds. And at some point, we'll have to get on and do a trio podcast with Jeff DiMatteo and talk about the running back threshold and running back workload tool he's built. Alvin Kamara's got like a year left. And I think that there's so much value to be had in fantasy to fresh legs at the running back position, whether it is like even Jerome Ford, who sucks. He's not a good football player, but he has fresh legs and he has opportunity. And because of that, he's been a fine asset for fantasy. Alvin Kamara is an elite player in general. I love that. I can rant. I'll talk in circles about Alvin Kamara for another 15 minutes if you let me, because go Vols.
Let's get into your farce running back.
Farce running back. Let me pull this back up here. I don't remember. Oh, easy. Derrick Henry. And you know what? I actually think Derrick Henry might be fine this week. It was mostly I wanted to have a discussion overall about him and the situation that is going on with Tajay Spears, who I think is a 2 to 3 year window like dynamo for dynasty leagues. But Derrick Henry last week got a more traditional workload. I think he was over 68%, 69%. That's right around that 70% threshold for running back usage, which is in that workhorse territory. But the week before that, Tajay Spears was the guy, and it's worth noting. In the game last week, Tajay Spears is the only guy that got red zone touches. Derrick Henry is so far beyond every metric that says that he's going to like spontaneously combust as a running back. So the red flags are endless, and my hope is that Anthony Richardson and the Colts go out and have a surprising game because they actually suck against the run. But I wanted to throw him in there just to talk a little bit dynasty wise, and I don't know. I don't own him anywhere. I have 0 shares of Derrick Henry this year, and if you have him, I'd sell him. He might be fine for another few weeks, but I bet you that he's going to be one of the running backs that falls off before the end of the year.
So let me get into Iggy's real quick, but I think that's good, man. Derrick Henry just has only had like one really good game, and it was last week. And he threw a touchdown, so it's like you ain't gonna have that happen every week. So,
right.
I mean,
Colts do suck against the run, but
they really do. But you're right. I mean, Derrick Henry right now might be a sell. I mean, right? He might be somebody you could be just selling right now. People are like, oh, dang, and he's got a really good matchup. Or maybe you wait one more week and then sell him, right?
Right.
And Crispy said that his FARCE players would be Breece Hall and Brian Robinson. Those are good players. Those are good ones.
I like that. I love the Breece pool for sure.
Yeah, it seems SoCal says seems Titans will be more negative game scripts. He will have a few king games like we saw. But
thank you for saying that, SoCal. Like that was in my notes that I have on my spreadsheet. It was what I have. Actually, it's not in the spreadsheet, but on different tab. You can't see it, JC. But the Titans offense sucks and Ryan Tannehill should retire. And so regardless of whether or not
that's good.
Regardless of whether or not Derrick Henry has a good game, in the end, he's married to a inexplicably poor, dysfunctional offense through 4 weeks. And I don't know. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I will miss, though, is the finger roll drip. I do love when Tannehill runs into for a touchdown because he does give you the finger roll drip, and I will miss that very much, though.
He's dusted.
He's like got the basketball player in him still.
Yeah.
But, so let me get into Iggy's real quick. So Iggy said FARCE is tough, top 12, consistent going. He said DeAndre Swift versus the Rams. Weak secondary, and the Eagles have several superstars that could take valuable TDs away from him. And Gainwell. But yeah, it is tough. So mine. So mine is Kyren Williams, and Kyren Williams is the running back number 3 overall. So I mean, it's hard to find players, but this is somebody that could easily finish outside the top 16 just because they're playing against the Eagles, and the Eagles are the number 1 rush defense in the NFL right now. They've only given up 252 yards total to running backs this year. That's insane. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm kind of leaning. I mean, he could catch the ball a little bit, but I wouldn't say he's much of a pass-catching running back looking at what he's been doing. He has been having some targets, but he relies more on the run.
Well, he's I don't know. My fantasy football MVP this year is Sean McVay. So at least so far this season. Kyren, Puka, everything that's happened up there in LA. I guess not up there anymore, down there in LA. It's been fantastic. But yeah, this matchup this week is tough. I think that's a great pick. I don't have a lot of insightful things to add. You know it.
All right, let's get to our wide receivers then. FARCE players. FARCE wide receivers.
All right. Can we do yours first?
Because I'll do mine. And I mean, mine could easily be somebody that doesn't hit. I mean, but to me, it's the amount of targets that this player gets every single week. And it's somebody that we actually drafted to be a top wide receiver 1, or top end or wide receiver 2, and that's Garrett Wilson. So Garrett Wilson, he has had, a 14-point game, an 19-point game, 9-point game. That's against New England, though, and then a 15-point game against Kansas City. So he's been finishing in the wide receiver 2, back end wide receiver 2 positions, but it's the targets that he's getting. Week 1 was 5 targets. He went 5 for 5s. All right. So then he went 8 targets and he only caught 2 balls. And he still had, he still had 19 points with a touchdown. So, but then the next week it's 9 targets. And then this past week it's 14 targets. So it's not, and then and Zach Wilson actually had his best week last week. They're playing against Denver, okay? In Denver. Guess what happened with Chicago last week?
Yeah.
Guess what happened with DJ Moore last week?
I'm into it.
I mean, it could be a bust. It could be, I mean, he could still put
It
up, 50
He's going
to be a wide receiver 2 again, but
I would be willing to
I
bet
think this is a good opportunity for him to fucking just blast off.
Well, I think that you like particularly the situational aspect of playing Denver this week. Denver, the Bears, every year we get a couple teams that just are so atrocious at defense that you kind of are obligated to start players against them. And then when you pair that with a player that's as talented as Garrett Wilson, who, if you had the Aaron Rodgers connection, like you just brought up, is arguably a top 5 dynasty wide receiver asset with a good quarterback. Like, yeah, I'm in. I think it's a great call.
All right. What about you?
So I threw 2 guys in here. Michael Pittman and Jalen Waddle. Michael Pittman isn't really a surprise call. He's been fine this year. He's been super reliable. He's been a great wide receiver too. Just kind of like if you drafted him, you got a bit of a value, but I think you drafted him with that as the expectation. That said, he's playing the Titans. They stink.
They do stink.
They're bottom 8 against wide receivers. And Anthony Richardson's the real deal. He is one of those unique scenarios where you get this kind of Konami BS, super athletic, combine nonsense player. And then they turn out to be like the truth. I think that he is. And at least for fantasy, he's going to be the guy. And currently he is targeting the hell out of 1 or 2 people, and that's it on any given week, besides the first quarter and a half that he played in football to start the season. Michael Pittman's the dude. He has any given week, he'd be a wide receiver 1. He's kind of your classic wide receiver 2 with upside. And currently he is the wide receiver 19 on the season. I think he might be a top 12 wide receiver this week. Throw him in your lineups. If you're not doing that already, you're silly, but keep doing it.
You said you're silly. All right, so I agree with you, man. I think both of these. I mean, Pittman is somebody that has showed us what he is. He's actually, balled with Richardson too, and even though Richardson likes to run a lot, I mean, Pittman's been benefiting, and Downs is another guy who's been getting involved too, and I think that's only going to help Pittman more.
I love Downs. He's going to be great. Super, super great staff for Dynasty that might actually show some fruition in flex plays this year. But you actually, the other guy, did I bring up Waddle yet? I don't think I did.
No, that's a great one too. Yeah, bring that one up too.
So Waddle's got any given week, he's got top 10 wide receiver upside. Currently this year, I don't think a lot of people are aware that he was hurt, and the team didn't advertise it a ton, but he did something in the transition between week 1 and week 2, I believe, and then you can see it. Like if you watch the Dolphins, not this past week, but the week before, he was pretty limited in his usage. Dude, he's wide receiver 56 on the season. It's been a disaster so far, but it's not a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase situation where you're like, everything is actually really bad right now. He's been fine. Like the offense has been fine. He hasn't been fine. Let me rephrase. But if you want to bank on a guy that's done nothing so far that could win you a week, it's the Penguin, man. Waddle your way in. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I mean,
and the team suck.
I think this is a great pick, and it's crazy because I totally missed him way down there. And you say that way down there, like he's just been having, a shambles start, and it happens.
Yeah. I want to lend some insight that I picked up on Reddit of all places. I forgot that outside of 2 games, he's pretty much been a super, super highly efficient wide receiver that's never been a volume guy. So he is probably going to be a lot more boom bust than his draft capital would have dictated or should have warranted. But yeah, wide receiver 56, like Drake London, I think is 52. I'm a little more worried about Drake London than I am.
Yeah. Fletcher Cox is in the building, dude. Fletcher Cox is here hanging out with us.
Fletcher is?
Yeah, Fletcher Cox is in the building. He said, should I trade Derrick Henry and Tua for Ramondre Stevenson and Anthony Richardson? If this is Dynasty, I might be trying to go get Anthony Richardson. I mean, I'm not big on Ramondre. You're really banking on basically Tua's injury history to happen. Tua's been very explosive this year. I think that you could get more than just – I think if this is Dynasty, 12-man PPR, I see that. Is this Dynasty or redraft? Give me that, Fletcher.
That's really important. And redraft, I wouldn't.
If this is Dynasty, I might be trying to chase this trade, but I might want to get something different than Ramondre because I think that Ramondre is not something that's going to be long-term, you know?
Yeah.
Not Dynasty. Okay, you said not Dynasty. Okay, so it's redraft.
Well, there's nothing wrong with getting rid of Derrick Henry, but if you could trade Tua for Anthony Richardson and add an auxiliary asset that maybe upgrades the back end of your roster, I would then take Derrick Henry in his own, like in a vacuum, and I would try to upgrade at running back elsewhere. I'm with JC. I don't fully agree dynasty wise for Ramondre. I think he's probably got another couple years left of pretty good relevance. The league situation is just tricky now.
Let me look a little bit at Ramondre. I mean, he's just not been looking great, you know. I mean, they played some pretty tough defenses, I guess, to start the year. Philly, Miami, Jets, Dallas. They get the Saints this week, then Vegas. They're still tough, man. Then Buffalo, then Miami. It's like, I don't know why you're trading for him. It's still a tough, man. Like the next couple of weeks are pretty tough. I mean, after that, that's not what I mean, after week 8, then his schedule starts getting a little bit better. I mean, Washington, Colts, then bye, then Giants, Chargers, Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a nice little stretch there. But then week 17, you get Buffalo, and that's your playoff. That's like if you're in the championship, that's going to be a tough.
Here's the deal. No, don't trade Derrick and Tua for Ramondre and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is a Konami code player, but Tua, any given week, Tua could be the number one player in fantasy, period. You can't not really they are. And then I know I just shit on Derrick Henry, but it's a lateral move to move.
I think it's a good time to try to sell Derrick Henry, though, right? Like, either you wait one more week because they play against the Colts, right, or against the Titans, or sorry, the Colts, right? And maybe you bank on him potentially on a good game, but if he doesn't, then you're not going to be able to sell him again, you know? So maybe capitalize on getting 3/4 of what you think you can get for Derrick Henry right now, because right before you're getting not even a half, you know, like try to trade his name value and what he did last week, you know, like that, and maybe you can get, you know, something else. But I'm not trying to get Ramondre. I mean, his schedule looks pretty tough. And that team, I wouldn't say is, you know, explosive.
Anthony Richardson's incredible, but I'm not moving to him.
And he gets hurt too, you know, like he gets hurt too. I mean, we saw how many times he's already been hurt twice this year.
Yeah, if we want to go by the injury narrative, Anthony Richardson's worse than Tua.
Technically this year.
So, anyway.
All right, let's get into this. Did you give me your farce player yet? Or I got to give you mine, right? First, I got to give you mine first.
You're going to do it at the same time?
This is hard, man. This is like the receivers were hard. And like last week, I kind of got lucky. I said Mike Evans, and he ended up getting hurt, you know, went out with the injury. I mean, I called in Njoku before he got burned, you know, like it just ended up being what it was. And it's like you can't just predict injuries or anything like that. But here's somebody who's already banged up going into the week, and my player is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's, you know, an absolute stud, dude. Wide receiver 11 on the year, but, you know, he's already, you know, abdominal pain. So he's got an abdominal injury, and they're already talking about him not participating in practice. You know, he didn't participate in practices today.
Yeah.
So if he potentially doesn't practice tomorrow, I mean, I still have the Lions winning that game. But, I mean, Jameson Williams is going to be coming back potentially this week. Montgomery showed who he was. I mean, Amon-Ra basically, 5 for 56. The touchdown really helped him out. 10. He would have finished the week with 10.5 points. If he didn't have that touchdown, but this is a
I don't
week.
want to hear
They lead him.
Brown's the truth.
I know he's the truth, man. He's so good. That's why I said that. But if you look at wide receiver 1 through 16, I'll name them right now. Justin Jefferson. Do you think he won't do good this week?
He's
Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Puka, Devonta Adams, which has a revenge game this week against the Packers. Nico Collins, who's been absolutely exploding. AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, who I picked. Mike Evans isn't playing this week anyways. Adam Thielen, he's been showing out every single week as a wide receiver 1 on that team. Devonta Smith.
My guy.
That's who you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick, like Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Romeo Dobbs, who could potentially, start to fall a little bit with Jones being back, but Brandon Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb, I mean, that's a good top 16.
I don't dislike Amon-Ra. I think it's tough to ever project a guy like Amon-Ra to not finish top 16, but I get it. Like it's tough right now.
But he can finish at number 17. I would still be right.
Yeah, exactly. I did Adam Thielen because, first of all, like everyone should know right now, the Panthers are apparently shopping for a wide receiver. So I think that's more of a reflection of what's going on behind Thielen on the depth chart and what they want to do to try to help insulate Bryce Young and help him in his progress and his acclimation as a rookie. But dude, they're playing the Lions. I don't know if you paid attention to the Lions, but they don't really mess around.
They're pretty good. Their defense is good as hell.
And I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to take Bryce Young and have a field day with that guy.
Yeah, he probably will.
I think that Carolina offensive line has been a little bit worse than we expected this year. They're supposed to be a tremendous unit, and they haven't been. But all in all, Adam Thielen I would say he's been performing above expectation. And my gut feeling with him has been since draft season that this guy is probably a good wide receiver too, because he's got the veteran leader presence for the rookie. But beyond that, he's not going to win me much. He's been winning people weeks to start the year off. For what you got and what you paid to acquire him, he's been fantastic. This week, he's the 10th overall player. Not happening. Aiden Hutchinson says, no, sir.
Yeah, that's why the Lions were one of the top defenses to stream this week. So, yeah, I mean, this is a good time to be selling Adam Thielen, and that's why it's a good farce player. I mean, he's, been performing and at his, like he was performing with the Vikings a couple years ago, like top receiver.
Yeah.
It's time to sell him. He's, especially in dynasty leagues, if you can get, a second round pick or shoot, I mean, right now, somebody that's desperate enough might even pay a first if they're trying to win now. So go out there. I mean, shoot for the moon if you can. Somebody might go.
Somebody pays a first for Adam Thielen in a dynasty league right now. I don't know. Just invite me to that league. I'll take over whatever orphans.
I'm telling you, man, I've seen some crazier stuff happen. I've seen some crazy stuff happen in Dynasty. All right, let's get into tight ends.
Am I allowed to say my note?
That I say whatever you want on your notes.
Thomas. All right. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But tight end, FARCE, Logan Thomas, mainly because Chicago fucking sucks. All right. Let's just throw it out there. That team's terrible. The defense is terrible. But they also, I believe they are bottom 7 against tight ends this year, on top of being a bottom 7 defense, on top of coming off an emotionally devastating loss against the Denver Broncos, which genuinely, if you look at the emotional, the body language from that team, dude, they look like somebody killed their dogs. It was bad. And they should have won that game. There's no reason for them to lose that game other than they have bad coaches and the team has the yips overall. Logan Thomas he missed a game Came back. I think it was over 75% of snaps. I also read that he literally every single snap that Tam Howell took and dropped back to pass, Logan Thomas ran a route. He is currently the 20th tight end in fantasy. Bro, he's going to be top 12 this week. Book it. I don't know. I'll put my money on it.
All right, we got another question in here. Zay No Limit. What's up, man? Aaron Jones, Swift, Achan, and Puka. He says sit. That's tough. I might have to sit Swift here.
It's against my religion to sit Achan.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Also against my religion to sit Puka.
Yeah. And I think Aaron Jones, last week he didn't do much because I think they were trying to wean him in, but man, AJ Dillon is so bad. They need Jones back that desperately. So I think that he gets back on track this week. Iggy, our guy Iggy, is a Packers fan, and he said that fire up Aaron Jones this week. So Swift might be mine. I think Swift was his sit, right? Pretty sure.
I think I've got Aaron Jones as my. Let me pull this thing up.
Yeah, Swift was his sit. So I think that's what we're going to say, Zay. We're saying sit Swift.
Yeah, I agree with that. Aaron Jones is my RB9 this week. Of course, like who the hell?
Conklin, you think Conklin's going to be a force this week, Crispy? That's tough. Oh,
Tyler Conklin?
I liked him last year. He was my big guy last year. The conch. I mean, he had a good week last week against. I guess, man, he's been balling. So against Dallas,
it's the Broncos. Like they suck. They're getting 4 starters back on defense, I believe, this week. It might be 3.
Shoot, I mean, if you need a streamer this week, Crispy Pops. I mean, yeah, I think.
If you need a streamer this week, Crispy, go drop Tyler Conklin and pick up Logan Wilson, and then or Logan Thomas.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I was gonna start Logan Wilson last week. Or Logan Wilson, Logan Thomas last week. Logan Thomas last week, and I sat him and picked up for Jake Ferguson, and that actually turned out to be the better pick.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty stoked about that. I made a trade for him too, and it ended up helping me be the number 1 team that week this last week. Yeah, but I don't hate that. Yeah, they do give up the booty. So, I mean, I definitely do not hate that. He's tight end 17 on the year due to basically having a really bad week 1. But, yeah, week 2 against Dallas, he put up 15 points against, surprisingly, New England's been doing pretty decent against players this year. But he only put up 8 points against them, which is still a great streaming tight end production. And then 13 points last week. So, I mean, I definitely don't hate this. If you really need a streamer this week, I don't hate it. Yeah. And in some leagues, I'm gonna tell you this year has been crazy. In redraft leagues, I've been seeing people with like 2 to 3 tight ends on their team. And it's like, damn it, sucks. But you'll find somebody out there.
That sucks.
Well, I mean, Jonnu's been a good find right now. I mean, he's been the guy.
I already said this.
So, all right. So my guy this week is Dalton Schultz. Just because that offense, man, had been rolling, and Dalton Schultz has been, a beneficiary. He started off a little slow in week 1. He had a little bounce back in week 2. Obviously, the Colts and Houston, man, it's a good rival. I mean, they usually play really good or play pretty hard against each other, so usually get some good points. Against the Jags, he didn't have a good week. But this last week against Pittsburgh, man, put up 16 points against them, and they get the Falcons this week. Evan Engram went off against them this last week, so I think this is a good opportunity. He's tight end 23 on the season. He's probably, in a redraft league, he's probably out on the waiver wire. You could easily pick this guy up. And
the Falcons have been playing upstart this year overall. But they are currently tied for 7th worst against tight end. So I think if you want to go off arbitrary stats, that one's not totally arbitrary, but I agree with it.
Crispy said he's starting Logan. Logan Wilson.
Logan, let's go, baby. I'm telling you, dude. Logan Thomas is shoot me a DM. Tell me how dumb I am if he doesn't do anything this week, and I will own it. But I think he's going to be fine.
Was Logan Wilson? Was that the name of the tight end that played for the Seahawks?
No, Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson is the anchor of the Bengals defense. He's their middle linebacker. He's great.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're right. All right, so let's get into some farce tight end.
Oh, dude, it's easy for me. This one took me the least amount of time of any of them. It probably means that he's going to have the best week of any of these players. But Cole Kmet is currently a tight end 3 on the year. I actually had to do a double take when I read that because, like, the Bears, the Bears have not really been doing much. DJ Moore's had a couple great games. Justin Fields had a great time playing against Van Joseph's defense, and I think everyone will this year. But Cole Kmet, tight end 3. You know who is number 1 against tight ends? The Washington Commanders. And I touched on it a little bit earlier about the Bears in general, so I'm just going to leave it there. But I don't think the Bears are going to have a good week this week. And I certainly don't think that Washington's going to magically be terrible against the tight ends.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you. I think this is a great pick for somebody that's just not going to ball this week. I mean, Komet's been somebody who has been dominating lately, but it's been matchups, and this is a terrible matchup for him. I mean, we're going to see a lot of people go out and get Fields this week and probably end up dropping him after this week again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's another discussion. But Fields, if they let him run enough, he's still going to be serviceable in fantasy, even if he's bad. That's been the problem.
He's first 3 weeks. He's going to get depressed.
Where they didn't let him run the ball.
That team looks so depressed. It sucks because I want DJ Moore to be so good. Like last week, they looked like can you imagine just having that much fun, right? Just having that much fun, and all of a sudden, he just end up losing right at the end. You know, it's just tough.
Dude, I mean, they were destroying the Broncos, and then they not only fumbled a win, but they fumbled a win against one of the worst teams in the league. Like, yeah, things are tough in Chicago right now.
Oh, you're telling me, dude. It's crazy, man. I mean, Fields was the guy that I had finishing as my QB5 this year, and it's not looking good. It sucks because we saw what he could be, man. He showed last week.
That's not the worst though, because you're not alone. You know that there's a lot of really smart people out there that felt the same way about Justin this year.
Oh man, it's definitely an interesting year. It's been smart.
That's why.
It's been one of those years this year where you're just like, all right, well, that's if we look at our projections from players finishing at the top 12 at their position this year, we would have been off from a lot, first. Well, especially like running backs, man. Like the only guy you're probably getting right is McCaffrey.
So far this year, at least the first quarter of the season has been the fantasy, like the seasonal equivalent of the guy that wins the Millie Maker because he started 3 like Browns players and then like 3 kickers. It was just like, cool, dude, but like you got lucky. Like that's like this season has just been nonsense. I was talking to shout out to Andrew Hall over at Fantasy Pros and a couple other places. I was talking to him on the phone earlier today, catching up after the expo. Shout out to Bob Long. But we both were talking about exactly that. We're just like, fuck you. If you're going to sit here and tell us that your rankings were so accurate this offseason, get out of here. We don't believe you. And we don't want to hear it anyway, because 99% of the fantasy community is looking at like a good chunk of our rankings right now. And we're like, well, whoops. Just Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, thick,
Yeah.
And then multiply by 500 players. Like, it's been tough. It's been really tough.
Mostert, nobody had them up there.
Right. Hey, I'll take the H-An call. I love that guy. But here's the thing. Like, to lend credence to that, I love Puka Nacua and I love Devin H-An. Dude, I'm not even going to go out and call them or take credit for it because I didn't have Puka Nacua as the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. I just thought he was like worthwhile drafting in Dynasty. Like, it's not only that surprising players have been good. they have been astronomically, like, record-breaking good in most cases. And so, yeah.
And Matt Stafford is just somebody who creates wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean McVay, fantasy football MVP 2023.
So my farce tight end, I mean, everybody should be on this, is somebody who I already had at finishing outside of my top 12 on the year, was Darren Waller, man. He's just been a complete bust. I mean, he hasn't done anything. It's not really even him, dude. Like, Daniel Jones is looking like Daniel Pesos, like, just terrible, like, just not even panning out to be, what he needs to be. I mean, he's had one great week. That's about it. Other than that, he's been very mediocre, like 5 points, 5.6. No, like, he's had one big game, 13.6, but 6 points, 5 points, 5 points. All right. Well, that's not what you paid for, when drafting Darren Waller. This is to be another tough week against Miami where the spread is ridiculous. I mean, it's just gonna be a blowout. This is probably gonna be another game where it's like 70-20.
I don't know how so many people, like, I understand looking at Daniel Jones as a back end quarterback one. I get with that. That's where I was in fantasy. But there were a lot of people that were like, Daniel Jones might like take another leap this year and be great for fantasy. And it's just like if you look back at what he's done so far in his career, you basically need the guy to literally stumble his way forward into a 100-yard rushing game. And if you can do that 5 or 6 times during the season, well, yeah, he's a top 10 quarterback. But, like, that's what people were banking on this year. It was like, he's got to run for 700 yards minimum, and then he also has to improve as a passer. And it was just too many red flags for me. Yeah. And you factor in, like you said, Darren Waller, like, your saving grace and the reason that you think the guy's going to take a leap is one of the most injury-prone and unreliable players of the last 4 years. Like, it's just, there's a lot of red flags. And it's been a tough situation for Giants fans this year. But they've got a Saquon coming back, and I do want to throw out there that I actually toyed with the idea of putting him as one of my forces this week. And I think I wisened up and I moved back on that one. But I hope Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon's it's another thing. We could talk about Jonathan Taylor, man. Do you think he's like gonna come back? Do you even really think he's healthy? Like, people are saying he's healthy. I mean,
dude, I think he's been healthy this entire season. So?
Yeah,
he's fine.
He just doesn't want to play. He's like, F off.
Yeah. I think that if logic and reason prevailed and emotions were taken aside, Saquon's agent and his family members and his friends and everyone would have gotten, or not Saquon, Jonathan Taylor's, like, people would have gotten through to him and he would be playing already. Because the NFL, CBA, and the way that contracts are set up now, like, he doesn't win. There's no scenario where he wins. So all he's doing is hurting himself. And I think he's gonna have a nice little chapter in his career where he can say, I stood up for the players. And they're going to see him on the field in the next 2 to 3 weeks collecting that paycheck. And I'm pretty excited. I think he's going to be great for fantasy.
What's up, Andrew? Andrew says, trade question. Puka, you're probably not trading Puka, are you? I just have to. Puka and Rachaad White.
In redraft?
Yeah, I'm assuming this is redraft. For Tua and Waddle or Amari Cooper. I think I'd rather go for the stack if you're going to make the trade, but.
Well, I don't know. Like, you must not.
Is it a single QB league? Because that's also very important.
Andrew, I need more context on that one, because if it's a super flex league, then yeah, take the quarterback side every time. Like, tell us a little bit about the league and the lineup requirements.
All right, so I put in the chat. Make sure everyone gets in their pizza parlays. We are taking these down so far. I've only got 3. I'll get yours too. If you want to, we can talk about it right now. So, and then we'll get into setting up a lineup for DFS real quick, and then we'll get out of here. But yeah, so pizza parlays is just something fun that Iggy and I kind of came up with some of the guys we've been doing some content with. Excuse me.
Bless you. Here,
it's fall time here in Minnesota, and it's been bad. It's been real
JC,
bad.
This is so important. Next time you sneeze, Can you go like Puka Nakua?
That's good stuff. Oh man, yeah, it's fall here, and the leaves are changing. It's been bad, but yeah, pizza parlays. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna try to hopefully by mid-season we can actually get enough people to be doing this, so we can do a giveaway. And at the end of the year, whoever has the most, points, we will give away something. I haven't decided if it's going to be cards or if I'll give something. I have some autograph stuff in my closet. Maybe I'll give something away like that. And then and I think we're going to send somebody a pizza like on Sunday. So at the end of the year, at the end of the regular season, we'll send you a pizza for like a playoff game or something like that. So make sure you get your pizza parlays in. Pick 3 teams against the money line, right? 3 teams against the money line. So basically 3 teams that you think will win this week in the NFL, right? Week 5. And then 3 toppings that you would put on your pizza. It's just fun. It's just something we like to do. It's fun. Pizza, football, it goes better.
All right, I'm in. I got it. I did 30 seconds of research and I know my answers.
All right, let's hear it.
Number 1, Cincinnati Bengals at the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Bengals are going to win. I lied. I had 1, and I just was like, I got all 3. Let's do one and 1. So that's my first one. Who's yours?
So this week I went with the Lions. So let me pull up the spreads real quick just so I can tell you the spreads. So Detroit plays against Carolina in Detroit, and the spread is, let's see, -10. So I'm taking that. I think Detroit can absolutely dominate. If you were to bet on it, it's at -470 for the money line. So it should be an easy smash.
Yeah.
I took an upset this week just because I really like Houston, and they have Atlanta with the Atlanta winning against Houston this week, and I think that Houston can dominate Atlanta. We saw what they did last week. They looked terrible again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my upset for the week. And you don't have to pick an upset. I just like to do it just for fun. And then another does absolutely domination, I think, this week is Miami. And it's at -11, or the spread is at, and then the money line is, -550. So I think that's another easy smash against the Giants. So I think those are my easy plays. And then the Texans were kind of like a game that potentially the spread is close enough to where I can take that and make it a winning pick.
I needed some nicotine reinforcement here because I'm about to go pick for the 3rd time in the same episode. I like those 3 picks, first of all. And full disclosure, so you caught me. I would love to shout out to whoever's watching. I would love to hop on a show and do content where you put me in a place where I'm uncomfortable. I don't do a lot of gambling against the spread or money line game betting.
You can't do it here, so I don't either. But
yeah, and so this is such a foreign exercise to me. But I already went in and said that the Bengals are going to beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Let me go with the Jets against the Broncos. The Jets, it's -1.5 in favor of the Broncos right now. Man, dude, going back to my narrative comments from about 40 minutes ago about that situation, dude, I don't know. If I was the Jets, this would have been the game I circled in a big red marker. It was like, we cannot lose that week. And I think we might see a team that looks a little bit more pissed off than we're used to, or from professional athletes. And so then I'll roll the dice for the last one, and let's say that I think the Saints upset the Patriots. I'll just go with that.
That's good.
Pepperoni, pineapple, and banana peppers.
Hot pineapple. Oh, actually, you know what? I can't say I don't dislike hot pineapple. I think I just don't like pineapple with tomato sauce. I think that's the thing that I don't like.
It's totally 50-50. People either love it or hate it. I love, if you can give me like a spicy sausage-based topping, pair it with a pineapple for the sweetness and throw in some banana peppers for an extra spice. That's like my favorite two combos. So any meat and then banana peppers and pineapple. If you show up at my house with a pizza with those two things on it, I'm in.
I think I'm going with the Philly cheesesteak tonight, man. I think
that's I like that.
So good, dude. And like for a sauce on there, I got to get like a white Alfredo kind of sauce. Like when I used to make pizzas, like homemade ones here, it's just like I would throw a little bit of that Alfredo sauce on the bottom, get you some nice, a little bit of mozzarella. I mean, even if you want to get crazy with it, you can throw a little cheese whiz on the top. I mean, if you want to get real crazy with it, make it real Philly. But yeah, you get some green peppers on there, some onions, and some nice steak on there, and oof.
You're making me hungry. I'm about to go.
That's what's fun about these, dude. It's like I'm saying, man, pizza parlays, dude. What's better than pizza in football? And whoever wins, I'm willing to send someone a pizza at the end of the year. Hook somebody up.
There is a shout out to George's Pizza in Atlanta. They do like this deep dish. I think it's the best pizza in Atlanta. George's.
Yeah, we might have to get a sponsorship through somebody. Some pizza.
I know, right?
Just like,
get a way to do it. A rotating
giveaway. We'll do like a big pizza party for somebody. Throw a pizza party for someone.
Be into that.
That'd be pretty sick. All right, so that's that. Oh, let me see. Andrew's got. He said, yeah, single QB current is Goff. Current wide receivers are AJ Brown, Pittman, Zay Flowers, Michael Thomas. Current running backs Achane, Jacobs, and James Conner. So your team's really, really good. Let's see. Goff, somebody. I mean, he plays at home in the dome this week, or in the inside this week. So I might be playing him. What was that?
What was the trade again?
The trade was Puka and Rashad White for Tua and Waddle or Amari Cooper.
Here's the deal. I've had this discussion a lot over the last few days with various people, surprisingly, about Puka, and I think everyone is trying to figure this out. What do we do about Puka Nacua? I don't know how to answer that question. I personally probably wouldn't make that trade because I don't want to trade for a stack that relies on a player to outperform what they've done so far this year, which would be the case with Waddle. But Puka, I don't think is going to go away. Even if Cooper Kupp comes back and is himself and is getting 30% target share and 100 yards a week, Puka's still going to probably get 8 to 9 targets and 70 to 80 yards. I mean, his role is permanent in this offense, and Cooper Kupp isn't going to show up and play the same role. And I think a lot of people are missing the fact that Puka is playing the Robert Woods role in Sean McVay's offense, which is not the role that Cooper Kupp ever played. And so they are going to work together fine. I'm not worried about Puka at all. He's just you're banking on him being the number one wide receiver in fantasy this year. Yeah, like, well, fucking that's not going to happen. But he's not going to fall off the face of the earth at all. He's going to be fine.
See, yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm betting you there's some other people out on the waiver wire that you could get without having to trade away, Puka. So I don't know if I'm making that trade just because of that. I think you're chasing points with Tua. Like this is like he's at his high right now, right? He's at quarterback 6. He had 2, very mediocre weeks, one against the Patriots, who he plays twice a year, and one against the Bills, who he also plays twice a year, even though the Bills play week 18, but it doesn't, I'm just saying, I think, in that division, he's having these tougher games. Like he's not playing well. So the teams he plays twice a year is going to be tough too. And we know that he can potentially anytime get injured. That's something you don't have to bank on. Obviously, you're not banking. You can't use that to bank against, but I do because we saw it happen last year when Tua was going off. I'm betting there's somebody on the waiver wire that you could just go get.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
But I'm playing Goff this week. They're playing at home.
And that said, I don't want to make you feel like it's a bad trade. Like it I don't know if I can speak for you, JC, but I thought it was a fairly even trade. White for Tua, fucking smash that shit, dude. Do that immediately. Do that. I would do that 100%. That's totally different.
Yeah, I would do that. If you can do that, Andrew, you should do that.
Yeah.
All right, SoCal, what's up? He says, "Give me Commanders, Lions, Jets, pepperoni, bacon, and hot." Ooh, damn, hot honey on pizza.
Whoa, peppy bacon and hot honey, yo. SoCal, have you ever had the? Have you tried out that chili crisp? Have you seen this, JC, yet? It's like as of the last 2 years, they're like it's like chili crisp sauces. They put them in these little mason jars, and you lather them on.
No, I haven't had that.
That's what I'll mail you. I'll mail you one of those here in the next couple of weeks.
That sounds fire. Yeah, yeah. Okay, if you can do this, Andrew, I think I'm gonna be all about that. All right, let's get some. Let me add this real quick. We'll get a lineup in real quick. So anybody out there that plays DFS or doesn't know what DFS is like daily fantasy sports. So say you're not doing really well in your fantasy leagues, right? But you still want to keep competing, right? There's ways to do it and ways to make money in daily fantasy, and you can basically set your own lineup or set a lineup of different players every week, and you basically pick whatever players you want, but with a salary cap, right? So we play on DraftKings. Let me pull this up real quick, and it's fun because I mean, and we also do run a league every week, right? Or a challenge basically where you play against us, and it's on DraftKings. So get signed up on DraftKings. I think we do a $3 game every week, and top 3 teams take money home. So I will get that out as well. Let me see if I can actually add that to this while we're building the lineup, because that would be nice for y'all to know where to go. Otherwise, I will post it on social media. Make sure you go follow me. Let me get this down. Go follow me at JC Money Design. I will post it either tonight or tomorrow. And I will be posting out throughout the week if anybody wants to get in and play DFS against us on DraftKings. It's a lot of fun. And last week I got my butt kicked. So there's always that. I had Nico, and I was talking about Nico last week, and then I decided I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna just take Tank Dell instead, and that was a bad choice. Tank Dell was a bad choice. Should have kept my Nico. Should have went with Nico. All right, so this is DraftKings, and you know, we have a $50,000 salary cap to get a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defense special teams. SoCal said he needs to know more on this chili crisp, dude. You're gonna be bringing a bunch of these things to the expo next year,
dude. Maybe that could be a sponsorship in the future.
Oh yeah, chili crisps. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm trying to be eating stuff live, you know. What are you eating? Well, we talk about this sponsor.
Yeah.
So all right. So this week, so how do we want to start this? A lot of people will say, I don't know. Well, I don't know where to start. A lot of times I'll either try to get my quarterback and whatever stack I want to do, right? I might think about, am I going to do a quarterback wide receiver stack, maybe a quarterback tight end stack, quarterback running back stack, or even if I'm like, I already know there's a running back this week that's way down on the list. Like if I wanted to grab a Jerick McKinnon, right? Like he's probably down here. Let's see, and he probably doesn't cost that much.
You ready? Can I throw a twist into this?
Yeah, 4,900, dude.
For our flex, can I roll one of these positional die, and then we have to draft what other positions there? As long as
you know what, I'm down with for that.
Those shout out to whoever's watching. These things are incredible. Super cool idea.
I'm down, dude. I'm down for doing it. I said it would be fun if we could do a mid-year draft to see how that mid-year draft finishes.
Yeah. Actually, we'll do one for sure, because I'm going to do I was talking to Andrew about that earlier today. Got some stuff in the works to try out some ideas.
All right, so let's so how do we want to start this? Do we want to grab like a running back, we think? I mean, you agree with me on Jerick. I mean, a lot of people might not even think about playing him because he's been doing terrible. I mean, I feel like to win in some of these contests, you gotta, make those crazy decisions. Like, not always
Well,
crazy. There's
full
plenty of places to play
disclosure,
safe. $4,900 is pretty cheap for a running back.
yeah.
Like, let's look at players around that. I mean, Akers, Gainwell, Algier, Jalen Warland. I mean, McLaughlin is more than McKinnon. He could potentially be another guy too that we could play. I mean, Dalvin Cook.
Why don't you do
No,
this? Let's go ahead and do that. Throw in McLaughlin and McKinnon into a running back for us. I like that.
yeah, this could be crazy because yeah, I mean. All right, so who else could we pay down at? Let's look at the defenses this week. And if anybody wants to join in, you can join in the chat. If there's something that you want to, hop in and you're like, this is a player that I'm thinking of. If anybody else plays, this is a good time to jump in with us and talk with us. But yeah, so let's get in here. Let's look at the defense real quick. Who could we play to? So last week I played down and I picked the Panthers, and it was a great pick. They got Detroit this week. I don't think it's a great pick. Been against Minnesota last week is an awesome pick.
Switch my camera there. All right,
There's not much for paying down this week. Like, I wouldn't pick the Giants because they're probably going to get dominated. Carolina versus Detroit. Carolina might. I don't think their defense does, quite what they did against Minnesota. I don't really see that. Tennessee versus Indiana. Maybe. Probably not.
Let me pull up one thing real quick. Are we doing defense right now?
Yeah, DSTs.
All right, let me pull this up. I'm going to go ahead and rattle through. I'm not going to name the name of the site, but I've got a little AI tool that goes in and it aggregates a couple sites for me. And so I often will just default on this as my ranking system. And right now, this is the order of defenses for it. Number one is actually the Detroit Lions, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that was this week's big one.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah,
number two, Dallas Cowboys. Number three, Miami Dolphins. Number four, Kansas City Chiefs. Number five, Bills. Number six, Commanders. Number seven, Eagles. So if we can stick in that group of teams, I think we find the cheapest one there.
Well, Commanders won't be on here, right? They don't play Sunday. I don't see them. No, right?
I don't think they do. Let me see. Excuse me. Commanders play tomorrow.
Yeah, so they won't be on here.
That's a Thursday.
So the lowest one on that list. So Eagles and Lions, and also Dallas won't be on here either. I know they're prime time.
The Lions are the number one team?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, we could say we're paying. I mean, technically, you are paying down. I mean, so our salary, our average remaining, if everybody sees right here, my little arrow, this average remaining player. So that's the amount of money per player left that we can spend. And, we basically, if I went there, like, obviously you saw how much money we jumped up, right? Even though we're not really spending down because it's the top three at that position that we're spending on, right?
Let's do quarterback real quick, because I think for defensive special team, my instinct is always just to default to someone else's information and just take whatever the best value is, because defense it's kind of tricky to predict sometimes. But quarterback is a lot easier to project.
What do you think? Jake Browning or what? They got him high. They got him ranked higher than Desmond Ritter and Tannehill. It's crazy.
Dude, Ritter actually is a guy I thought about throwing into my FARCE thing this week.
No, don't ever do that.
Dude, watch. He's going to score like 70 points this week.
No, he's not. I mean, I guess Houston. I mean, maybe, but I think the odds are more in my.
I want you to tell me one player on their defense besides Jalen Petrie.
I mean, I don't even know if it matters. Ritter's just not great.
Yeah, he sucks. All right, going back up. Let me look at these top. Is that the top? Is Kirk number one? Is Kirk the number one? Oh, Mahomes. I was going to say these sick.
Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar, Tua, but you're spending way up for those players, right? Richardson still paying up. About where we're looking at, you know, I mean, you could go get Jared Goff against Carolina. You just stack the Lions there. But if you think that
Jordan Love's way down there.
What? Jordan Love, I think he also plays in the primetime game, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So to me, I mean, my favorite play this week is, Dobbs, just because you're paying down. Dude, you know he's averaging, 24 fantasy points a week this week, or not this year, 23.
That Tennessee defense isn't like a fucking joke, though.
Well, he also put up. Let me see. Let me pull up sleeper, because he put up points against Denver or Dallas. 26 points, I think. That's Dallas.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not gonna say no to
San Francisco. Against San Francisco, he put up 27 points.
So I won't hate on. Let's do Dobbs because he's cheap. I like that.
I mean, if we want to do that, this is the thing: is like you could pay up here, go here, and get you. You said you wanted. Who'd you say? Michael Williams, right?
Michael Wilson.
Yeah, Michael Wilson, right there. Look, and then right now, let's see. We can now. So now we have potential to go spend up on some players, because if we go look at tight end, we could probably spend down on tight end, right? And then just smash on wide receiver.
No, spend up on tight end. Throw Kelsey in. He's playing the Vikings this week. The guy's going to score 90 points.
Well, I heard Kanye's going to show up, and you know how much Taylor Swift loves Kanye West, so it might. I'm just kidding.
If Kanye showed up to that game, Kelsey would score 100 points. Just to be like, I got you, girl.
All right. I mean, if you really want to, if we spend up that much on one player, I guess we can try that.
Let's just see how weird we can get with Kelsey, because of all of the weeks to smash Kelsey, I feel like this is it.
All right. So, I mean, do you want to stack that game? Do you think Jefferson is somebody you could play again? I mean, he's just been defense proof.
He really has. I mean, he's not. Let me go pull up wide receiver. Actually, let me pull up flex. Let's do that.
I mean, they played against Carolina, Chargers, which is bad. Eagles, which is good, and also
how expensive is Bijan?
The Bucks, who are good. Bijan, he'd be in a flex position then.
Mm-hmm.
You put him at your flex.
So I'd be willing to pay up for Bijan this week.
7,700.
So we don't have to do Kelsey and Bijan, but just for the hell of it, like we're still got 6.
I mean, we're still, we could still. So if you go to receiver here,
let me look at while you're scrolling through. We got 6,000 a pop for wide receivers.
Yeah. Yep. And there's players down here still that we could grab and still feel. I mean, Thielen's down here it's against Detroit though, so I might not.
Christian McCaffrey's default, but Bijan's my number one running back this week. Besides CMC. So if we're at 6, like we can go even. We got Nico. Fucking throw in Nico. Guaranteed 10 points.
Nico.
That's just to humor me. Can we keep him in there just to see? Nico.
Oh yeah, I love Nico.
Because now we've got
6,500. So you got Pittman if you want to fire up Pittman, who you like this week.
Well, we got Wilson there.
Garrett Wilson.
Dude, throw in Wilson, man. That's your guy.
I think it's still risky though. I mean, it's not like it's not risky, but they're going against Denver. You're really hoping for an explosion. I mean, and it can happen. I mean, it's Garrett Wilson.
Absolutely could. I would be you could flip a coin with Pittman and Wilson this week. I think Pittman's floor is probably safer, but Wilson's ceiling might be higher.
Well, here's the best thing about DFS is you can play as many lineups as you want. So as long as you're willing to spend a little cash. like I said, let me see. I will definitely here. I will put it in. Like I said, we do have a tournament, or not really a tournament, but every week we have a DFS, game that we put out for everyone to play against us. We actually have up to 100
Hey,
spots. So
shout out to GGF Bots. Didn't she win last week?
who did? Who won?
Was number one. At least I checked going
Oh,
into tonight.
yeah. Roxanne, right? Roxanne was the one who took first. Didn't she take first?
Let me here. You go do your other thing. I'll pull up DraftKings and just check.
I'm pretty sure Roxanne took first last week. But yeah, all right. So wide receiver, let's just throw Garrett Wilson in here and just hope he just does what he should do. And it's okay to have 100% okay to have remaining salary. Okay, we have $500 on the remaining salary, and I'm just fine with that with the players that we have. So we got the stack with Michael Wilson. Hopefully he does something fun this week. With Josh Dobbs, a little stack there. And then we went with McLaughlin and McKinnon. We paid down for running backs because these are guys that we potentially blow up, and we paid down for them. We got Nico Collins, who has just been crazy this year. Garrett Wilson, who has the potential to go bananas against Denver, like it happened with our guy DJ Moore. Kelsey, who could potentially go bananas against Minnesota. Then we got Bijan Robinson against Houston, which Zach Moss destroyed Houston. So I think the potential there is massive. And then Lions, who are the number one defense on the week. So I'm pretty happy with that.
This lineup because we've got 3 players that are top 5 in fantasy for me this week, and that is Bijan, Travis Kelce. I also have a top 5 guy, and then actually no, I lied. It's 2 guys, but getting 2 of the top 5 guys by at least my aggregate projections is pretty great.
All right, here's
there's a scenario where Bijan and Kelce combine for like 80 points.
Let me see if I can invite here quick. Give it to me, baby. Just hit reserve. I understand. Okay, come on, just give it to me. All right, I should be able to go here. I should be able to go to my contests. Upcoming. This one, I should be able to. Is that invite? What? Where's the invite button?
Send invites.
Yeah, but that's for that. There should be just a way to. I don't want to invite email contacts. There should be a way to just like invite to contest. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do on my app.
Not allowed.
That's not very nice. All right, well, since DraftKings isn't letting me doing it on the computer, if anybody out there wants to play against us, go look me up on Twitter, obviously at JC Money Design. I will be posting this for the week. It's a lot of fun. Basically bragging rights for the week. You get some cash. Yeah, it's fun. What's up, Ronnie? Did you have a blast tonight? Challenge you a little bit?
I had a good time. I mean, I really enjoyed, I know I was bitching about it, but I was just doing that for fun. Having to come in behind you after you already made your picks and then sift through the guys that are ranked outside of the top 16. So it was tough. So I really enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Yeah, last week I let Coach. So we might do this. I mean, if you ever want to jump on with me anytime, I'll just you'll know what the show is going to be about. It's every Wednesday is going to be this. We'll just pick players for the week that just kind of to help people decide. It's kind of a different way of start sits, right? It's just you still could potentially say maybe these are the players that we think have the potential that are outside the top 16 to finish within. It's a little bit different than start sits. Just.
All right, just for the hell of it, before we leave, and we can do this in 2 minutes or less, can we make a $1 entry lineup to like a Millie Maker?
And sure, we can definitely do that.
Every pick we roll a dice, and we have to pick a player from that position.
I mean, what you'd still have to. Maybe we can do that. Let's see where we got. Millie Maker.
But it's easy. So we can just do like whatever the first one is. That's our number one. We pick the most expensive player that we're comfortable with from that
Okay,
position.
I like that. It's cool. So where's the right here? I'll put it at $3 if you want to. Right, this one right here.
You want me to Venmo you $1.50?
No, I don't, dude. I don't care.
It's a sports affiliate one. If we win, you just invest all the money in the website. I don't want it to cut.
All right, roll the dice.
You guys just trust me. I'm gonna roll it on my laptop. Fuck. God, shit you not. Kicker.
There's no kickers. Doesn't matter.
Does that mean we have to go throw into our flex as a kicker?
You can't get kickers. All right, roll again.
Oh, we can't? Okay, all right. Defense.
All right, so we pay up. I mean, then we just do Lions, right? Because they're the number one.
Yeah, we pay up for the Lions.
I mean, it says so here we can pick from Ravens, who I would not pick, Eagles, who I would not pick, or Lions. I would rather just pick that.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
All right, another one. Quarterback.
All right, so that we can pay up at quarterback.
Yeah.
All
so
right,
why don't we limit ourselves like we got to go in the top 6 range?
Okay, so that's fine. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we stop at Kirk Cousins.
Dude, I immediately Anthony Richardson.
All right, fine, we can do that. Tua's there. I mean, Tua versus the Giants is not terrible either.
Either of those are fine.
Richardson and Pittman basically would what I would think. All right, go ahead. What's next?
We can go readjust that. No, kicker again. This thing loves kicker. Kicker again. These are rigged.
I think those are for sure. They just want people to pick kickers first. Like, haha.
All right, tight end. It's not letting us pick the players we should. Bastard.
All right, so at tight end, so your top 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
While you're
so we
looking
stop
at
at Hunter Henry. So you want to pay up? You want to go? So Kelsey, Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, no. Sam Laporta or Hunter Henry.
I am pulling up one thing real quick.
So if we spend if we go get Kelsey, we're down to 5,200.
Yeah, what up, Jeff? Here, I'm going to tap you into the end of our episode. It's Jeff and Ronnie on the call. We're making a DFS lineup. We're rolling a dice with a position on each side, and we're having to pick a player for our DFS lineup based on that.
What?
Or you can just call me back. I can call you back in 10 minutes, but I'm live with JC over on the Sports Affiliate right now.
Oh, man. Well, that's cool. Go do your live show, man. I mean, I'm happy to help out, but I don't want to come in and jack up the show. You guys have a good time.
All right, no, that's Jeff. It's NFL_D Matteo on Twitter. He's the man. I'll call you back in a sec.
He is the man.
All right, peace.
All right, so we're paying up for Kelsey. If we do that, we could go down a little bit.
We need the 5 guys, and let's go with the team that's playing the defense that sucks the most against tight ends. I'm looking at that list right now. So Kelsey, obviously. Who else?
Probably TJ Hawkinson versus Kansas City.
Okay.
Hawkinson's he's just been so up and down. I mean, Kelsey has also been up and down. Andrews against Pittsburgh, which is probably a better pick.
Pittsburgh's actually really good against the tight end. They're tied for 7th in the league. Who else?
Laporta versus Carolina, which I'd like only if Amon-Ra ends up missing. That's a hell of a pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawkinson last week had what? Hawkinson had a bad week last week. 4 points against Carolina.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's the second most expensive guy. All right, let me look at the Patriots. Or who are they playing again? New Orleans? Saints. Dude, none of these guys have good matchups. We're kind of in a pickle here.
So can we just not pay up?
I feel like no, we got to stick to it, man. We can't.
All right, then I'm just gonna go.
Go Hawkinson. Go Hawkinson.
Ugh. Okay.
All right,
roll the dice.
He actually has the best matchup according to defense against.
Roll the damn dice. It's gonna be a kicker again.
I love these. These are cool.
Waller would be one of the top guys. I mean, we could put him in there and just cross our fingers. I'm fine with
Dolphins are
that.
tied for 5th worst against tight end.
This is the Millie Maker. Nobody probably is playing Waller, so
All right, yeah, good. I love that, SoCal. That's a good call. Throw in Waller.
All right, roll the dice, dude. We're gonna win $1 million off this damn dice.
I did. It's wide receiver. We finally get to go wide receiver.
All right. Okay. So we can pay up at this position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Amon Ra, we can just skip him if we want to, just because in cups on IRA. Why? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Puka's there. So we could potentially, I'll give Waddle there too, just because Amon Ra could potentially be injured. So Jefferson Hill, which is going to be very expensive. AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua.
Jamar Chase still so expensive. That's so frustrating.
Because it's DraftKings.
I know.
You're paying for the name. Or if you want to go down here a little bit, we could say, I mean, we could probably, if we roll a dice again, obviously we can go get Pittman later. But
so I think we should be able to, we can make up the rules a little bit on the spot and then stick to them in the future. But why don't we do you have to go top 6 for your first one at the position, and then after that you can double it and say top 20, something like that.
All right. So here, do you want to go Puka?
I think we should take the cheapest guy that fits into the bill.
Okay.
All right.
Roll the damn dice.
Kicker again. Fucking bullshit. Running back.
This is actually kind of fun. All right, running back.
This is great.
All right, so we're not going Saquon. So Bijan, Derrick Henry, Kyron, David Montgomery, Nick.
Taylor 6,600. These jerks.
I don't know why. I think we just start HN or Mostert here. Sorry. If we got 1, 2, 3 people out, we would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, we're not going to be able to go top 6 each time, so I think we might as well start
we're just throwing HN in there.
I think I'm not down.
The Giants. All right, roll the damn dice.
Kicker again, Jesus. Running back.
This team would be loaded with kickers.
It's a Scott Fishbowl dream team.
All right, what was that?
Running back again.
All right, so running back. All right, so we'll pay down now for running back.
Yep.
So how far down do we want to go? Chuba could be a guy. No, I'm not doing that.
Let me go pull up some of these.
So once again, people that might not get played this week because he's been terrible is McKinnon,
Mm-hmm. Let me tag team some names for you. What is the cost?
What about Breece Hall versus Denver?
Yeah, what's the cost of Breece?
Breece Hall's at 54, so I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, roll a damn dice. We got wide receiver and flex left, so I guess you got at flex. We'll roll the dice for flex. So
we'll all right, do we want to roll the dice for flex, or do we want to fill out our wide receivers next?
We'll fill out our wide receivers, and then we'll roll the dice for flex with whatever we got left.
All right, I'm into it.
All right, so here we'll go. Let's see, we got 48, 66 is kind of remaining players, so we have to kind of pay down a little bit.
I'm fine with that. Let me go pull up some sleepers here.
What about we got Richardson? What about Josh Downs? I mean,
dude, I mean it's a good matchup. I don't dislike it.
I mean, why not? Why not? If we're gonna pay down, I mean, Terrace. What about
touchdown?
Like Terrace Marshall? I mean, maybe not. He did well because they played against Minnesota. That's it. Sorry, that was a bad.
Let me go pull up wide receiver against. All right, so here are the worst teams against wide receivers with fantasy. The Chargers are the worst. That's shocking, actually.
Tyler Boyd versus Arizona.
The Cardinals are actually really high up there. I wouldn't do that. Chargers, Vikings, Steelers, Commanders, and Seahawks. If we can find a guy that's playing one of those teams, we might be okay.
So Kansas City.
Who's Kansas City playing?
They play Minnesota. You're like Sky Moore.
No, dude. Actually, no.
Kadarius Toney.
No, throw in Rashee Rice.
Wonder how much he's costs. Damn, he's way down here.
Yeah, throw him in.
All right, yeah. You know what? I'm actually
I
okay.
Him, but he is getting the high leverage looks in all three phases of the game. If they need something,
all right, yeah, no, I'm okay with that. Okay,
I mean, I hate that play, though.
That boosted us up though. Now we're at 55.
Yeah. Let me pull those teams up.
Yeah, dude.
Who's playing the Broncos again? They're playing
right here, dude. Yeah. SoCal just said just roll A-Chain or roll A-Chain. What's up, Rico? What's going on, man?
Whoa, what up, Rico?
And then SoCal said Rashee Rice.
Yeah. Mine's think alike. Like mine as well. I mean,
all right. So do we want to roll the dice now for flex and then fill out wide receiver from that?
All right, let's do that. But can we agree that it can't be a wide receiver? Actually, no. Fuck that. Let's go. Rolling the dice.
Roll the damn dice.
Running back.
Kicker.
Let's go.
He's like kicker. All right. So
RB.
at flex, so I might as well I'm just gonna look at running backs. So we can spend if we want to. Let me look at wide receivers quick because we can see kind of where we can spend around for receivers. So if we wanted to go up for running back, right? Because do you want to spend up for running back, or do you want to grab one of these guys down low that might?
I think we should spend up on the flex, and then wide receivers easy enough to play around with. There's enough guys that.
Okay, spending up on the flex would be like shit. I mean, you could even put Pacheco in here if you wanted to against Minnesota. I mean, I may be great with that.
I'd be okay with that.
5,700. That's what you're paying up. So you're only paying up $200 for that. Let's see.
And we've already got Brees Hall.
And we got H-A.
It's an interesting one, but I don't like stacking.
I mean, if you want to run with Mostart again, him and H-Chan versus another one of the worst teams ever.
Kamara,
you could pay up a little bit for Kamara. But, I mean, they play New England though, so I'm not excited about that.
Yeah. So we've got 11 left. Can you see
David Montgomery? If you want to spend way up, I mean, let's see if you put David Montgomery in.
How expensive is Tank Dell?
We already have Nico, so I don't know if I want both. No, we don't have Nico
in this one. We had Nico in the other one.
We don't. He's at 48.
So would that prevent us from getting a Montgomery type?
So I bet if we did this, if we went with another Michael Wilson, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Someone like that.
Oh yeah, he's 37. I think that's a fine.
And then at that point, at running back or at flex, David Montgomery right here, dude.
All right. So my only tweak that I would throw in there, because I like Montgomery there. I love Michael Wilson, but we've got $700 left. Can we upgrade a little bit?
Sure. We'll see what's available. Not much. Marvin Mims.
No.
Exactly.
You get fucking 3 targets.
DJ Chark. Do.
DJ Chark.
Robert Woods. No.
No, I mean, actually, I think I'm okay with Michael Wilson.
Yeah. Raheed Shaheed. No, not versus New England. Josh Downs, you can still go for that if you wanted to.
If we wanted to stack.
If you want to
But
try to stack.
I would almost want to like pull out Rashee Rice and throw in Michael Wilson.
I don't know. I don't know how many people are gonna. I mean, you might see more people playing Michael Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's a top 35 wide receiver who just had a big, decent week. I think we're okay with Michael Wilson.
Do you want to go Wilson? I'm fine. We can do that. I like it.
Who's more expensive, Downs or Wilson? They're the same. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, Downs has only had one mediocre week. He hasn't had an explosion.
Let's go with Wilson. He's a better play.
All right, boom. There's our Millie Maker.
That's hilarious, dude. I like doing that with the dice.
I mean, this isn't terrible, man. I let's win that money. Shoot, if I win $10,000, I'll be happy.
Dude, if we win and we do it with the dice, we have to do a special episode with the guy who created these things.
So I mean, we could have went Downs, but we get the stack. But I think that the Wilson play. I mean, Wilson could bust again, right? He could go back down to earth, but Downs hasn't really. I mean, Downs has technically been still down.
We're rolling the dice with both of them.
Yes. All right. This has been a fun time. Man, it was awesome. It's always a good time having you on. It's always awesome. You know, the watch parties.
Always a great time being on with you, man.
Tomorrow we got the watch party. We got long day tomorrow. Thursdays are the long days, but as y'all see down in the ticker below, those are our show times. We pretty much have a show every Monday through Friday. Yeah, make sure you're on the lookout. Go check out the Sports Affiliate on Twitter. Check me out. Jason is on Twitter. Make sure you're following Ronnie on Twitter. Ronnie A. Evans on Twitter.
I would love to get up to 2,000 followers before the end of the season.
Yeah, let's get Ronnie up in his followers. Everybody here should be following each other, especially on Twitter. Make sure you're following, like, subscribe here on the YouTube. We will be giving, as you see, we do try to answer any questions. If we got time, we will get into answering questions for the week. Wednesday's just nice and chill. It's a hump day. It's just,
2-hour episode, man. That's a long one.
Yeah, this is just fun. So yeah, Wednesdays are fun. Thursdays, it's a haul. Thursday's a marathon. So yeah, Greg's show tomorrow. It's gonna be another fun time. Then we got the game tomorrow night. I mean, so much to do. I gotta get the video made for tomorrow's intro. You get a little scramble of the game beforehand, and then watch party, man. It's such a blast with Tyler and Fantasy Football Advice Network. So yeah,
I'm excited. Well, I'll be there for the watch party for sure, and I appreciate you having me on. And then hashtag mental health matters. Always out there. If you ever feel down or need help or anything is getting to you, definitely reach out to JC, me, or anyone else. And there's a lot of good people in the fantasy space that are looking out.
It's a positive space, man. Positive environment. We're always here to help anybody out that needs help. My DMs are always open. You can reach out to anybody here, but yeah, be positive. Keep that positive mindset. Put positivity out into the universe. Usually it comes back to you. So
yeah, maybe aliens will visit you. Who knows?
Yeah, that too. And we know they're real because the government told us they are.
That's true.
See ya.
Hey.